broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everyone, and happy Monday. If you are tuning into AfterBuzz TV, you have come to the right place. This is the Amazing Race After Show for Season 28, Episode 5. We're only doing freaky stuff. I'm your host, James Wallington, and we have a full panel tonight. Thank God I'm here.
Yes, we are all here today, and we're going to be doing some freaky stuff during our after show. I'm just kidding.
There's wine in her mug.
Yeah, I'm actually drinking one. What's up, guys? I'm Jessica Carroll.
And I'm Marie.
And I missed you ladies last week. I'm so sorry that I wasn't able
we're
to
so glad you're
come
back.
here.
We had a rough time without you. We really did.
Thank God your dog was here to
I
entertain.
know. We were like, oh, the stream is down. Everything's frozen. Here's Mouse.
Yeah, Mouse entertain. Just keep doing your thing.
My week isn't complete without seeing you ladies, so it's great to be back. Let's just dive right into episode 5, shall we? All right, so we're only doing freaky stuff. At the start of this leg, team started off where they pretty much left off last week's episode, and they received their clue, which was to find a specific French license plate on a marked car on a nearby street. Once they found that specific license plate, they told that driver to head to Les Grands Monteaux gondola station for their next clue. This, opening, I loved how they got into the lobby of their lodging and got all the new wardrobe change.
Right.
I was excited.
And some of their pants were a little tighter than me.
Oh yeah, Brody.
Because they measure you literally right before you leave, so that anything that you could possibly need is exactly your size. So I don't know if they measured wrong or
yeah, because there's no possible way you could actually gain weight on the Amazing Race.
Maybe
we
just from
gained
all the
weight.
running.
We totally did.
You gained
oh
weight?
my God, we ate everything we could whenever we could. But there was only a couple of us that did. Some people lost 10 pounds, but literally we gained I think I gained 8 pounds.
Just because you're not eating healthy, you're just eating
right,
whatever.
you don't eat for 20 hours, and then when you get on a plane, you're give me all the pretzels.
Give me everything, carbs, please. Well, even so, maybe you're running around, you're really focusing your muscle groups. I guess.
Do you think he built quads?
I don't know. It was,
in the first
it was
4
having a
legs?
hard time going over his bone.
Yeah.
So
maybe he was just doing extra squats,
Maybe.
building up his buttocks.
But the matching the license plate to the car, I was this is boring. It was not climactic at all. If they had to go to again, I guess it's limited space in the town that they were in, but it would have been nice if they went to a parking garage. I doubt that's even there, but some big lot
Right.
where there's a ton of cars.
Yeah,
it
this
just
was too
seemed way
easy.
too easy, which was my biggest criticism of the entire episode, is that I felt like there was no room for error. Everything was just kind of there for them at their disposal, and it was just very structured.
Yeah.
The entire leg.
Totally
so there
agree.
really wasn't room to really mess up.
Yeah.
Well, unlike you negative people, I actually loved this episode. But once again, you are right, James. There wasn't much for error, although we did see some mistakes.
Oopsies.
But I just loved the activities they were doing. But going back to the driver's license thing, honestly, at first I was they have to find this driver's license in this whole city. That's hard.
That's what I thought.
But they found it so
In, 2
fast.
seconds.
In literally 2 seconds. So I was like,
Yeah,
okay, this
well,
that
when
was
you
boring.
see 8 cars lined up waiting, you're
Well,
gonna
it depends
assume.
where you are, because I guess sometimes there's not just taxis all around. Of course, I would much rather them run outside and have to find a taxi, and then you're at the mercy of your taxi driver. You don't know if he knows where he's going, if he doesn't know where he's going. This was more of a controlled situation.
100%.
These people, yes, you had to find the car, but A, that was easy. B, because these cars were pre-picked, the drivers know exactly where they're going and what's
100%.
happening. So
Right.
again, you take out that element of possible error. So right from the beginning, boring, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they all got to the gondola, and it was like another equalizer.
Because only 2 teams could go up at a time.
Right.
So it's like, depending on when you left the pit stop,
Right.
that's kind of already the place and advantage you're given in this leg.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's basically the entire leg. But I mean, we'll get to that when we get to each
Like
specific thing.
back to back.
But yeah, whatever place you were in, unless you somehow messed something up really bad, you kind of stayed in that place. And some of the errors were, not only up to you, which we kind of see towards the end. We'll talk about that later. But it if the guide that you're with messes up,
There goes your chance.
Yeah.
Exactly. I just want to give some shout outs before we continue recapping this episode. I'm going to call her Aria Benet. I don't know how to pronounce her name. It's Ardene Benet. But thank you for tuning in. You look like you're a new viewer, so that's exciting. Erin Lune, thank you for tuning in. And that's all I really see on the live chat. They're really blowing it up, just the 2 of them. And
Nice.
Isa Khan.
Cool.
Thanks for tuning in, you guys. And I also want to really quick share a special announcement on behalf of AfterBuzz TV. Are you guys curious about a celebrity boyfriend's midlife crisis? Do you enjoy hearing stories about behind the scenes of Hollywood? Are you amused by old TV and movie references? If so, and you find yourself answering yes to these questions, then you'll love The Tomorrow Show with Kevin Undergaro. Join AfterBuzz creator and Maria Menounos' fiance, Kevin Undergaro, along with AfterBuzz co-hosts Roxy Stryer, Ashley Daniels, and others for all the insanity. Watch live Monday and Thursday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific time on thetomorrowshow.com, or subscribe and download free on iTunes. Go to thetomorrowshow.com for more information. There
That sounds interesting. I'm excited for that show.
sounds
Me
cool.
too. And I went on the website and I watched the trailer for it, and I'm very intrigued to see what it's all about.
Well, I love Kevin, and we all know that Kevin and Maria just got engaged.
Congratulations.
Huge congrats. I don't know if you guys watched the video, but it was adorable. Literally, Maria was like, "What? You're on your knee right now?" She could not believe it. So that was
very exciting stuff
Yes.
happening with AfterBuzz TV. So huge congratulations. All right, so let's talk about the gondola. Like what we just said. Excuse me, my phone's been. Like we just said, when the teams got to the gondola, it was pretty much first come, first serve, but 2 at a time, which was like, oh, great.
Before they got there, though, first of all, I loved when Blair was driving by, and of course they had to make reference to Bloody. So she was like, "Oh, there's a church here, Dad. Maybe I could get married here." I was like, "Oh God, here we go again."
Ooh
That
la la.
random throw in Bloody thing, but I really like Blair. I think she has a very awesome heart.
Yeah, she's cute.
She's very cute. And I watched her on Justin's from last season of The Amazing Race. Him, Diana, James, Earl, and Krista do a podcast every Sunday night where they recap the episode. And Blair was on it 2 weeks ago. And you just can't help but fall more in love with her just from that interview alone. So Blair's great television, great entertainment. We also see some of the story kind of developing between, not necessarily a rivalry, because it's more of like a playful competition rivalry between the boy teams of Brody and Kurt, as well as Tyler and Corey. They're so neck and neck almost every leg.
Yeah.
One gets first, the other one gets second, back to back. So I'm curious to see how that will continue to transpire as the episodes air on.
Yep. So they get there and they have to grab these backpacks and these baguettes. And I was like, what are they doing with these baguettes? Like, where is this episode going? So random.
Well, I also loved too when they got there that the information, this is just me being the travel nerd that I am, I loved that it's called Mount Blanc, is known as the White Mountain because there's snow on it all year long, which is no surprise because it's a huge mountain. And it's 15,771 feet, and it's the highest mountain in Central Europe. The travel nerd in me was like, I'm jealous. Why am I not there?
Facts. He loves facts.
Love the facts. So that was exciting.
Yeah,
But
that just went right over my head.
I kept having to rewind it because I was like, I need to make sure I get the facts correct about that. But we see also at this point, Sherry's kind of opening up about how Cole has done a lot of the work for the team and kind of has carried them this far, and that she, as a single mom, really wants to prove that she's very able and capable of doing these things, which I was like, okay, I'm just waiting to see what's going to happen this episode.
foreshadowing.
Yeah.
A lot of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Once teams made it to the top of Mont Blanc, they had to walk across a suspension line at the top to pick up their detour clue.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of this next hurdle of the leg?
I want to do it.
Yeah,
I
I
do
mean,
too.
it's cool to do, and like it's really cool to watch from like a viewer's perspective. But again, there wasn't like 10 lines that you could go on. There was 2.
Right.
And you can't, everyone's so scared, and oh my God, like, you're not gonna die though. Like, they're not gonna have you do something where there's an actual chance that you could die. You're attached to this, you're attached to the guy, like, you know, and your teammate is holding one of the ropes. That's not the real rope. Like,
I hated that. I was like, come on.
Right.
She's like, I got you, babe. I got you. I'm like, you don't have him. The guy has
the guy has him. So again, like, you can't really mess up. You can hang out in the middle of the line and cry a little bit if you want on your way over, but there's no real room for error here. Unless you drop your clue.
Like Ashley.
Yeah. Right. But then you just get to go right back up again and get another one. So, you know, I don't know. But again, there's 2 of them. If people came up behind you, you have to wait, and there's no, like, racing to see who's going to get the clue first and get back first. Everything was, like, super controlled.
And it also seemed like once 2 teams got up there and did it, then by the time that they were done, like, the next teams would come up. So it was very, like,
organized.
Ebb and flow. Yeah, there's just a lot going on with that. And I, like you, Jess, would have loved this. I would have loved to have done it. And I would be curious to know how far it actually was. Because on camera it looked like it wasn't that far. Right. But I also would be curious to know how far the drop was, too.
And it was interesting to see how people decided to actually get across. Like, some people were, like, literally, like, their legs were just hanging and they were, like, going like this. Some people, what I would have done is gone, like, head first and put my...
Yeah.
So it was interesting to see how people decided to actually maneuver their way over. But I want to know actually how cold it was. Because I'm always cold.
Yeah, you think that they would put at the bottom, like... that's just, again, the nerd in me. I just want to know the facts.
I know. Because I was thinking, I was like, oh my God, if I was out there, and they have layers and equipment, but I want to know how cold it was.
Yeah. And, like, if it was windy.
Right.
I'm sure it hurts your face. I mean, Dana said it was cold.
Yeah.
She was the only one that kept referencing, like, how cold it was.
Yeah, like, I'm such a baby. I just got back from Canada last week, and I was freezing, so I guess I'm just...
I mean, I was freezing here yesterday.
Yeah, right?
So. We're just not snow bunnies, apparently. I just want to give another shout out. We have one of our loyal viewers, Soul Brother 69. Hey guys, guess who's back? Your favorite, Soul Brother 69. Miss ya, that's what he just said. So welcome back.
We missed you too.
And then he weighs in with his 2 cents on this season. He goes, this season is too predictable and boring. Next season needs to be new players or have the lucky losers, meaning have a pool of the first 2 eliminated teams and then let them battle it out on a race. Or how about fans teams with their favorite Amazing Race player, like the beautiful Marie?
Oh,
thank you. I think that's a great idea.
I love
that is
idea.
A good idea.
I mean, I would have to agree. This is just so boring. Something else has to happen next season.
Yeah.
Well, again, and we'll talk more about it at the end, which we always do, but there's just, again, not a lot at stake. I'm not sensing the urgency
and you know
to
what?
win.
Many of the racers this season have even said, you know, the money would be nice, but this is just so cool.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so we're just basically like watching you go on vacation and do cool stuff. Like, there's literally no story behind, whether it's made up or not, behind any of the teams as to like why this is such a big deal to them and that they actually need the money. So it's just more fun for everyone, I feel like.
And there was a comment at the beginning of the episode between Aaron and Jocelyn. They were even saying, like, it's really not about the money.
Yeah.
It's just about the experience. And I'm like, I totally can understand that. But when you go to, like, a regular season, there's at least 1 or 2, 3 teams at the most that desperately need that money.
But that's what makes it a competition. So for me right now, this isn't a competition. This is just a show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And actually, going back to the Clever Girls, I felt like this episode, the editing or whatever, it made them seem like they were dumb.
That or that they were just kind of done. Like, they loved the experience, that it was just like, eh.
Yeah, like when they first got there to get the baguettes and the backpacks, literally Erin like ran by the clue box and she was like, oh, the clue box. And then, you know, the whole lunch thing, and I was like, why?
Well, I mean, someone has to be dumb. So whether they were or not, the models were eliminated and we can't make them look dumb anymore. So now we have to pick another team to make look stupid. Like, whether they were or they weren't, like, I think editing picks someone
just
to
for the
do that too.
relief
Right,
of it all.
exactly.
Because I know those girls and they're brilliant girls and they're make it happen kind of girls. So I was like, why are they, you know, anyways, I just felt like the editors were making them seem like that.
Well, yeah, they got it again later too when who was it told them make sure that you pick up lunch. And they were like, lunch, where's lunch? Oh, this is lunch, like going in some guy's
like trash or something.
Box.
Yeah.
They ran around for who knows how long looking for something that like wasn't even real. And, you know, we saw all that on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the whole Cole and Sherry thing, I felt like that was just literally a story that whoever was interviewing them tried to pull out of their teeth because it didn't seem authentic. It didn't seem real. Cole was like, oh, I'm so scared of heights. He didn't shed a tear when Sherry was like bawling and trying to like be this tough mom. Like, I love the two of them, but I just felt like the story itself was a little over dramatic.
Yeah, I can see that. But even so, like at the beginning of the season, when you watch like the pre-interviews, Sherry does say numerous times, like, I just want to show everyone that I can do it. Like, I don't need to lean on my family. Like, I'm a single mom, but I can do these things. So I get the dramatics of it, especially with Cole. It's like, what? Like, that big of a deal?
But not like, let's not pretend that she did it because he couldn't, because he was scared. Like, the reality of it is, if they weren't looking for this specific story in this episode, Cole would have done it.
Right.
Whether he was scared or not, he's better at any physical activity than his mom is, and that's the smarter decision. But when you look at, again, the layout and the setup of this leg, it didn't matter. It's not like Cole could have done it twice as fast as her and, you know, that would have given them a lead. No, you got where you were, you did it. It took the same amount of time for everyone. So he didn't lose anything by letting her go ahead and do this. And, you know, that was there for the story of this.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Wow. I love that we're just like all about this snow-packed episode. So going back to the detour really quick, the two choices were in Dynamite and in Campsite. In Dynamite, teams had to collect 2 dynamites from a chest and then traverse down to a mountainside to deliver the dynamite along with a lunch of baguettes to the mountaineer. In Campsite, teams had to pitch a tent on a snow, my bad, typo. With a correct setting example, they must build a protective snow wall beside the tent that meets the standards of the camper. Which detour would you ladies have done?
Oh, for sure the Dynamite. I have built one tent in my life, and I will never do that again.
Yeah, I mean, that was the obvious choice here. I have like an issue with this.
Yeah.
For a million reasons. One, totally unequal sides of the detour. One of them was pick up sticks, carry them up steps, leave.
Deliver
and the other one was go all the way down the mountain, build this whole thing. Like,
the snow wall was what? Like the snow wall that they had to build around the
like
tent?
even that alone takes more time than this. Like, this was just dumb on production's part for not making it 2 equal sides, but also when you read the clue and you see the option, I don't even feel bad for you if you chose to make the tent, because you're an idiot.
Right.
Like, why would you pick that? I understand a little bit that they were like, no one else has done it. Maybe we can do it. We know how to build tents, but just look at it. Like, the other side wasn't anything.
Yeah.
There was no way that you could mess that up.
Yeah, and that mindset of like, let's do it because no one else is really doing it. That's a huge risk and a huge gamble because
you're leading.
You don't know. Yeah, you're completely going off path of what everyone else is doing. You have no idea who's ahead of you, who might be behind you. And then there's a lot more room for error because you don't see anyone else doing it, so you don't really know if there's a struggle.
Right.
Whereas everyone was doing Dynamite minus Bernie and Ashley, so I don't know. I definitely would have done Dynamite. It just seemed like the easier, like, this is what you do, then this is the next thing, and this is what you do, rather than, okay, I have to look at this setup and do it myself.
I mean, it wasn't even, the Dynamite thing, like, wasn't even a detour.
No.
Like, that doesn't, that shouldn't, that's more of like a route info, quick thing type of whatever. Deliver this and get this. Yeah. So, fail.
Yeah, and it wasn't like they had to find the people to give it to. They were literally just following this rope.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the other part. Like, with the rope where you had to like go around the mountain, like everyone's freaking out and hang on, oh my God, I'm gonna die, I'm so scared, I'm this, I'm that. Like, the rope is connected to the mountain. That's connected to 50 guides. That's like, you can't fall. Like, you could have literally just hung there and let your partner drag you across. You could have laid down and like, you're not gonna die.
Yeah. Like, you might fall, but then that just means it was your time. Like, it was just a freak accident.
If every single thing came undone and like the whole mountain collapsed, then maybe you could have died. But like, there's no real risk in this. It just seems scary.
Yeah.
Which actually, totally off topic, kind of, not really. There was some news in The Amazing Race today, but it was The Amazing Race Vietnam. And apparently some cameraman and I believe one of the producers for that show were in a plane collision filming in Australia.
What?
Oh.
Yes. So there is room for not laughing
For
at the
the
situation, but I'm just
cameraman.
saying that they do really put themselves in
they
these
survive?
risky no. And so they really do put themselves in these dangerous situations where like there is probably a moment where it could be a freak accident.
I would say on all the crazy things that you do, the cameraman and the sound guy are more at risk than you as a race star.
Totally.
Like
I believe
the
that.
things that they do to get what you're doing is like unbelievable. And like these cameramen, like they're usually like marathon runners and like they're in super amazing shape because they're running backwards when you're sprinting forwards and they're hanging from things, and like the risk for them is just like
And
10
yeah,
times
you might
more
be
than
carrying a
us.
backpack, but they're carrying a backpack and a camera.
Oh my god, all the crap that they're carrying is unbelievable. And they have to be ahead of you. So as fast as you're going and whatever you're doing, they're like hanging off the mountain in front of you to get this.
Oh my god.
In the live chat, it looks like, I'm going to call her Aria again. Aria said she would have done Dynamite. Isa Khan suggested that maybe they should have put limits on how many teams could do a specific detour, like first come, first serve, which I kind of like that idea.
Yeah.
Forcing some teams to do it, some teams to do the other one. Then we have Joseph Boza saying that I would have done campsite because it was on the ground and I'm scared of heights.
Well, I mean, maybe that's what they were going for, but I think this was also like a trick and a trap. You know, if you read the clue and you're dumb enough to go build that, then you should go home.
Right. You deserve to go home.
Once teams completed the detour, they had to travel to Plan Pras Gondola Station for their roadblock clue, which a team member had to take a tandem paragliding ride 7,000 feet at the side of Aiguille Verte Mountain, totally butchering once again, and descend to the ground. They then had to spot a Yeti waving a French flag down on the ground. Upon landing, they would be asked what country's flag that they saw. If the answer was France, they would be given their next clue, sending teams to the statue of Michel Gabriel Picard for the pit stop. This roadblock was cool.
I loved this roadblock.
Cool to do, cool to watch. Terrible for trying to get ahead.
Hey, this is why I love having you, Marie. You're going to keep it real with us as a racer.
But I mean, but you saw like half the girls, I think all the girls, maybe, except for like maybe Blair, freaking face planted into the snow like they couldn't get up.
Right, right. But you're not running on your own. You're running with someone attached to you. You don't get to run until your guide says, okay, the wind is good. Try to run now. If your guide's an idiot and he tells you to run when the wind isn't good, you're falling on your face. You know, if he misses a chance at a good gust, well, then you're waiting when the other person's guide said go. So again, only one person can go at a time. 3 people are standing there waiting to go. And I think it was Brody who said that, you know, it wasn't his fault, whether his guide told him to run at the wrong time or his guide is the reason that they fell. When you're getting so close to the end of a leg like this, and, you know, some teams are trying to just not be eliminated. Some teams are going for that first place. And Brody's going for first place. And he's out in front. This is the last thing. All I have to do is nail this roadblock. I'm in first. I get to go first. If his guide told him to go at the wrong time, or his guide is the reason that he got tripped up, like, that sucks.
Yeah.
You know, because that's out of your control. And much
Especially
like,
when, you know, Tyler and Corey are like right on your tail.
right, exactly. So then, you know, he falls and he has to go back. Well, guess what? Now the person who's second in line gets to go. And if there was a third, fourth, however many people are there, you kind of have to just sit there and wait your turn.
Right.
And that takes like the competition element out of it. You know, once you're in the air, cool, you're paragliding. This is amazing and beautiful. But as far as the competition part of it goes, like, this sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the flag, I mean, who doesn't know the France flag?
Yeah.
So
Right.
it wasn't like
spot a giant Yeti in the
Yeah.
middle
I
of
mean,
just
what
snow.
other country would it have been?
Right?
Yeah.
Like, if anyone got that wrong, they should just immediately have, like, just paraglided home from there.
No, like you said, Marie, this was a cool thing to watch. It would have been a cool thing to do. But going back to the criticism at the beginning of our after show, it's just it was just a very structured leg from point A to point B. You have a guide. You have to do this. You have to follow this instruction, that rule. Wait for them. Wait to do that. Just...
Yeah, I was
Not
just
a lot at
not
stake.
happy. This like flashed me back to my Alaska leg, like the whole thing. It was linear. There was a
Yeah.
guide the whole time. You know, you guys are watching it on TV, and I'm rappelling down a glacier, but there's like 50 rescue people around me. There's a net under me. I'm connected to 40 people. Like, it's not,
Nothing can
you know,
go wrong.
and the team behind me couldn't even enter the glacier until I crossed through it. So it's cool to watch, and it's definitely something amazing to experience. You know, when are you ever gonna paraglide like this ever again. But you can't help but, like, I understand where Brody was coming from, and even the rest of the teams. Like, it's so frustrating because there's nothing you can do about it.
Going off that, Haley, one of our loyal followers on Twitter, actually tweeted us exactly what the racers tweeted out during this leg.
Oh yeah.
And Brody said that he had picked the right paraglider, him and Kurt. Oh, if Brody had picked the right, they would have won. Brody said he wonders why he started where he did on the paraglider and it wasn't his call. Brody said that you didn't see it all in regards to what happened with him and the paraglider. And in regards to how Bernie and Ashley got to the pit stop before Sherry and Cole, it was because Sherry's parachute landed on the crew and he ran to the chute instead of releasing him, and that Ashley was released before she was.
Wow. Now we know.
So, yeah, there was a lot. Clearly, people were
on
pissed.
Forever about this. I really could.
I love, though, Tyler, when they were picking, like, okay, who's going to paraglide? Tyler's like, I can't go. My glasses will fall out.
He's so cute. They, like, made, he has, like, these cute little nerdy things that he says that make you love him. Like
even at the beginning of the episode when they walked up to the gondola station and there was, like, all those, mountain men waiting. He's when in France or whatever.
Yeah. And then when they were, like, deciding, like, okay, so if we die on the mountain, who are we going to eat? and they nominated him Tyler because he was, like, what did they say, extra, like, pudgy or something.
He's like, yeah, I'm extra tender.
Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. They're just a lot of fun to watch this season for sure.
Oh, he is so fun.
Well, once teams checked into the pit stop, we got our rankings for this leg. First place, none other, Tyler and Corey. Second place, Brody and Kurt. Third place, Matt and Dana. Fourth place, Scott and Blair. Fifth place, Zach and Rachel. Sixth, Bernie and Ashley. Seventh, Sherry and Cole. And unfortunately, we say goodbye this episode to the clever girls, Aaron and Jocelyn.
And we had actually thought last week that it was going to be non-elimination.
Yeah.
And I was thinking that too because I was like, okay, again, this whole leg is so controlled. It doesn't really matter, like, who ends up where. They're just going to do NEL, and we're all still going to be here next week. And I was kind of surprised that it was them that went because, like, they're the girl team. And,
now there's no more.
Right. So, I mean, but I'm happy about it, like, because I get mad when people don't go home. I think it's stupid that we watch this whole thing and then everyone's even anyway. Yeah. Right. So I'm surprised it was them, but I'm so glad that they did it.
Because they did the dynamite, which the 10th thing clearly took so much longer.
Yeah, but they looked for lunch for 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. And also, when they were doing the paragliding, I mean, it looks challenging running in that powder snow, but like you have not far to run.
Yeah.
So freaking pick up, and the main thing is I don't think that people were picking up their knees, like they were like trying to run, but you have to like pick up your knees.
Right. Like it's not about running down fast because we did this in our season too. Like pick your legs up and just keep a steady pace. You're not, if you're a sprinter, you're not going to paraglide better. Like you just have to stay on your feet for that amount of space until, the mountain evens off and then you take off. I was cringing watching everyone do it.
Some of the guides, like how embarrassing to like be the guy that like screws up all the time.
Right. Wait, the difference between the paragliding this season and your season, Marie, is that you guys, it could have been multiple teams going at once. Right.
Everybody went at the same time.
But this was more like get in line.
Yeah.
Joseph Boza in the live chat said you have to feel bad for Aaron and Jocelyn because this circumstance with the paragliding is ultimately why they went home. So it's just a really unfortunate circumstance for those girls. But it sounds like they had a really good experience. I'm glad they got out of it what they needed, besides $1 million.
Yeah, they were fun.
So let's just talk about our opinions like we do. Check in with each other about what we really think about this season. I'm still kind of where I stand as far as my opinion hasn't changed. I would have loved a normal format and not the social media theme. Although it's different and it's kind of fun to watch every now and then. I just think that they really could have done a season with just Tyler and Corey and then other teams around them like they did with Joey and Megan on their season. But you don't need a full season of social media stars because there's just nothing at stake.
Yeah,
it's not.
I mean, maybe there was for them when they were running the race, but as a viewer, I'm not picking up on that at all.
Right.
I mean, they have their own individual little relationships that are kind of like previous seasons, but at the end of the day, like, they're still all the same exact thing. You know, we wouldn't have a season of all mom-son teams.
Right.
Like, so it's just, I don't know. Like, I hate to say it, but, like, I'm so bored. And there's teams that, like, we're onto the 6th leg now. Like, did we even say Zach and Rachel's name today at all? Like, where were they?
I don't know even that they're there.
Right, and it shouldn't be like that at this point. There should be a story that, like, we're into and something that keeps our attention. Even I can't even, the fact that I can't think of the names of the racers and, like, you know, besides Tyler and Corey, and, you know, because Brody's pretty, like, loud and they have that relationship with Tyler and Corey now, like, that's all I think about. I'm really not thinking about the other teams. I pay attention to Cole and his mom because I think Cole is cute, but there's not much there. Like, how much can they drag out the story of her wanting to prove herself after this
until maybe they win? That could be ultimately the storyline for sharing
maybe
Cole
hopefully
and blow all of our socks off. What do you think, Jess?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, because they don't need to win this race, I think that they're not necessarily building alliances. There's not really, you know, there's really no competitiveness between the teams. They all are just helping each other and supporting each other, and you can do it. So but you know, this leg, I liked some of the challenges. Even some of the challenges in previous legs, I'm like, this is so boring to even watch. Like, okay, you have boring teams, there's no competitiveness, and then you have them do a boring activity or a detour. Like, it's, yeah.
On the flip side, though, since I wasn't here last week to talk about the episode, the competitiveness did come out with Brittany and Jessica, because everyone was pairing up at that roadblock. Nobody was helping Jessica. And I was like, this is what and I'm not just saying that because it was the models in particular, but, like, had it been anyone, I would have loved it, because it's like, that's what the race is.
Right. Like, that's strategic. That's smart. You know that team got there last, so nobody help her, and the rest of us are fine.
But I wish that was like that every episode.
Yeah.
Just, like, work for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you should help anyone unless it's, like, you know, secretly to help yourself.
According to the Nielsen ratings, I'm looking online, the first episode, the premiere episode of this season, started off with about 6 million viewers, and now they're down to 5.4 million. So the ratings have been dropping since episode 1.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
There's nothing to fix about The Amazing Race.
Listen to the people.
I know. I'm curious to know what next season's going to be. I really like the idea of a fan and a...
You know!
Maybe.
Tell us.
I've heard through the grapevine things, but I'll tell you after, because I don't want people to be
oh my God, pass us a note right now. Text me.
Like,
I've heard rumors. That's why I don't want to say anything. We'll chat after.
I do like the idea of a fan and the racer, though.
I definitely would love that idea, too.
Is that what's happening? Because no one's called me yet.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you don't know anything about it, then that's probably not it.
No, but they hate me.
No, you would definitely be
I don't think
that.
so. I don't know.
If I was a fan of the race and I was asked to race with a racer and I got paired up with you, I would just poop myself.
Yeah, but
oh my God, you two
it
together,
depends who's in charge of, like, the casting and everything.
Sure.
I mean, if it's the same people as it was when they were casting for All Stars, I burned those bridges. Like, I was told, you say no right now, you will never be asked again. So unless they change who's in charge, they're not calling me.
Well, fingers crossed, because
Did
we
they
would love to
change?
have you
Maybe
on
they
there.
changed. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for my call. God.
Well, let us know in the comments and in the live chat what y'all think should be a good theme for next season. Now, let's talk about our fantasy teams before we wrap up our recap today. Let's start with you, Jess, because you lost a team.
I did. I lost my first team, my girls, which I'm actually really sad because, like I said earlier, I know them personally. But they were fun to watch, and they definitely had a great experience. So, and freaking that paragliding thing just caused them to go home.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Marie? Do you feel confident with your teams?
I do. I feel like the Corey team, what's his mom's name? See, like, I should know her name, Sherry. I feel like they're going to stay in this for a little while because we got a little story going here, and they're likable, and, you know, they're doing okay.
Right.
So, and then, like I said, we didn't even mention Zach and Rachel. Hopefully we start to see, like, a little bit more of them, or there's something, like, we get something that substance of their story. Right. Or, you know, they're going home, which is probably right. I'm sure they're going home soon because they're on my team. So.
But don't you think that because we saw so much of Sherry and Cole, they might be going home?
I don't know.
Here's
you saw
my
so much
thing.
of me every week, and look what happened.
And you made it to the finale.
That's because you're just you can't hide you.
To me, I think Sherry and Cole are in it for the long haul. Whether they make it to the finale or not entirely sure. But like, I think there's just a lot more room for Sherry's story to play out. On your team, Jess, Matt and Dana for sure are in it for the long haul. And then I think the top 4 teams that really stand out to me right now are Tyler and Corey, Brody and Kurt, Matt and Dana, and Sherry and Cole.
Yeah.
The other 3 teams, I think they could go home the next 3 rounds.
Right. Yeah.
And it wouldn't be much as a
The
surprise
gamers can
to
go
me.
home. That would be fine with me. I don't want Zach and Rachel to go home because they're on my fantasy team, but them are the gamers for the next round.
For sure. And I'm actually, Blair and Scott, they're hanging in there. I'm actually really surprised.
Oh yeah, let's talk about them because they've been kind of at the bottom and they were in 8th place last week, and then out of nowhere now they're in the middle of the pack, and it's like maybe they're kind of like the dark horse. Is that what you would call it?
Yeah, well, because Scott literally just went across that rope like no big deal, no complaining, and then Blair did like paragliding like first try up
Coming out
in
of
the
nowhere.
air. So
However, they didn't gain this place because they did something really well. They're
Sure.
here because other people screwed up.
well,
Let's
they
be
didn't
honest.
screw up, so
Right.
But maybe now that they're in the middle, that
They'll stay there,
momentum
you
will be
think?
like, it'll be like a confidence
I
booster.
hope so because I
Maybe.
really like them.
If they make it to the top 3, I will be so impressed, and I will definitely root for them because I feel like they're kind of the underdog team that people are underestimating.
Yeah.
What about you, James? Your teams?
I'm excited about my team. I love that 2 of the teams that I have are kind of like the budding story, the little bromance between the 2 teams. I really, surprisingly, am like obsessed with Brody and Kurt. I just really am enjoying watching them of all the teams this season. And I really love and appreciate Bernie and Ashley's relationship. I think Ashley is the cutest thing in the world, and I would love to have a drink with her. I would just like to kick back.
They actually, like, great communication. You can tell they love each other. They adore each other, which you don't really see much on this race. It's normally like bickering like this one over here.
They're boring.
In the live chat, Joseph Boza, going back to like rumors for next season, Joseph Boza goes, I think that James and Jess were asked to try out and they're going to be taping season 29 soon. Up Team J&J, how flattering.
Oh, that would be, I wish.
Oh my God, I'll just be doing this all by myself, angry.
Joseph Boza also says Marie is right. Blair and Scott went up to 4th because people messed
I'm
up.
always right. Life lesson number 1, Maria's always
gosh.
right. But wait, can we just talk about something for a second? I don't know if you guys saw this, that CBS posted the top 25 favorite Amazing Race teams. No, CBS made the list. Of course I wasn't in it.
It should
But
have
this
been
is what bothered
fan-voted.
me. Yeah, like it wasn't voted for. And of course there was some teams on it like Bopper and Mark, that everybody loves. But they just missed so many teams that I feel like you can't post that and say that it's like a fan favorite when it's not.
Yeah.
So
When the fans don't have the...
But maybe that's because, and when they posted this, I was also thinking, since Survivor did a fan vote for a second chance season,
Like, are those the people
it was
we're
such
voting
a
on?
popular season that it makes me think maybe this next season, and this is not the rumor I heard, but I'm just saying it wouldn't surprise me if they did a season eventually of teams from previous seasons for a second chance, and then the fans vote them in.
they should totally do that. But the problem is that they're going to give us the list to vote from.
Right.
So, like, if those were the 25 to pick from, like, people still aren't really getting to vote for their favorites if their favorites aren't on the list.
But some of the favorites on that list are winners, and I want to ask them back
That's
for a
true.
second chance.
That's
and
true.
plus, you need a good villain.
I know.
Let's be
Yeah.
real, Marie.
I know.
So maybe that'll happen eventually, and it'd be cool if all the teams that were in the pool of being voted back on were at the starting line, and then
Right.
Phil goes, "All right, these 12 teams step forward, go."
Right.
And then they leave the other. Just an idea. All right. We're
right.
wrapping up the show. This has been a great time. Let's wrap it up.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Are we all here next week? No, right?
Wait, I heard on the commercials, tell me if I'm wrong, does it say it's going to start up April 1st
Oh,
again?
yeah, we missed a week, guys. I think
Because
we
of
missed a
March
week.
Madness?
Yeah, we'll update you. We'll tweet.
Yeah.
We'll keep you posted.
That
But
means I'm not
again,
missing out.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. It's Marie. You can find me at Reebsicle.
And you guys can find me at Jess Carroll TV.
And you can find me on Twitter at James Wallington and on Instagram at James.Wallington. And I'm really excited to announce that I was invited by Philippine Airlines to be on their media trip for their 75th anniversary flight that's happening tomorrow night.
Yes.
So I'm going to the Philippines tomorrow night, and I'll be there until Easter Sunday. So if any of you are in the Philippines, try to find me, come say hi, and then make sure you tune into my YouTube channel, Where's Wallington, to join me on my Philippines
Oh my gosh,
adventure.
I can't wait.
So cool.
I'm excited. All right, we'll see you
See you
guys
next
when we
time.
see you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.